On paragraph 115, you deal with the fact that you returned to the office. If you can proceed from there.
Yeah, I returned to the office on the 14th of January 2025, and late in the afternoon I had a discussion with Lieutenant General Sibia. He presented a plan or a letter to me on how to close the PKTT in line with the directive of the minister. I was, however, not satisfied with that proposed plan because it contained, most important, it contained this immediate disestablishment. And I informed him, General Sibia, that it would be responsible of to summarily disband the PKTT and remove case dockets from them, as it will detrimentally affect, it will have a detrimental effect on the investigation of the cases. It will cause problems, complications in relation to the prosecution of matters already in court, and it will detrimentally affect witnesses in witness protection and families that were affected by these killings.
And then you say in 116, you gave Lieutenant General Sibia an instruction?
I instructed General Sibia that the PKTT should be wound down in a phased approach without compromising the proper execution of our police duties, if ever it has to be done. And which I then instructed him to go and rework on this plan, and I further directed him to another Major General to go and assist him in developing something of a phased out approach.
Yes.
General, now you're talking winding down. You actually repeat this further on, paragraph 131. You say, importantly, insofar as the way forward is concerned, this is 131, we had proposed that the following steps be taken to wind down the PKTT. And in 131.2, you say the 128 dockets that were still, no, I'm looking at the wrong paragraph. 131.3, you say no new dockets would be taken by or allocated to the PKTT. So what you say in 116 ties in with what you say in 131 and 131.3. What all that tells me is that you had basically accepted that the PKTT be disbanded. Your difference with the minister and indeed even Lieutenant General Sibia was whether this should be immediate, which is what the minister and Lieutenant General Sibia wanted, or it should be a phased process, which is what you preferred. Now, you have said that the instruction to disband was unlawful. Can you explain why you accepted that there be a disbandment, but that it be a phased process?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. After, of course, talking to the minister, looking for an ear to explain this matter further, to understand why is he doing what he's doing. At some point then, I had no alternative left but to say, well, if ever it has to go your way of disbandment. In other words, I'm giving in, but not in his approach, but on my approach, to say, let then the team be wind down if ever it has to be disbanded. So, and in the absence of a hearing by him, because since that time we never discussed it. He agreed that he will make time that we discuss this matter. But that time didn't come, even though I know I met him on the 16th of January, and we discussed other matters. When we come to this one, he says, no, let's wait for the report of the 20th. So that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that at this point in time, yes, in a way I'm giving into his instruction, but I say, not your way, but my way. And that's where then still there was no agreement on that.
I do not understand that, General. Remember, right at the beginning, I asked you this, and I even said, I was first hypothetical, as it were, and then I said, I will ask you as General Masemola a direct question. And I said, if the minister were to give you an instruction that strays onto your purview of functions, would you obey that? And you said you would disobey that. Do you remember giving me that answer right at the beginning?
Yeah, correct, Commissioner.
Now, why is it that once confronted with what you say was an unlawful instruction from the minister, you relented? Can you explain that? Especially regard being heard to what you say at paragraph 161 of your affidavit. In fact, paragraphs 161 and 188. You say, I'm sorry. You say in paragraph 161, the decision to disband the PKTT in KZN was fundamentally an operational matter falling squarely within the purview of the National Commissioner, who is responsible for the management and strategic deployment of policing resources. The effect of that is that the instruction was unlawful. The minister was not legally entitled to have given that instruction. Do you agree that that is the effect of this? Paragraph 161.
I do agree, Commissioner.
All right, let me take you to 188. There you say, in respect of the minister, knowing what I now know, what I consider to be irrational and inexplicable, and I emphasize what follows, encroachment into operational issues is now explained, blah, blah, blah. But what I focus on is you say the minister was encroaching onto your area of function. Now, just tell me how, especially in the face of what you said at the beginning, which is that you would not obey an unlawful instruction from the minister. Now, you say in so many ways that this was unlawful. Unlawful, why? Because it strayed onto your area of function. So why do you now suddenly talk the language of winding down in a phased manner, and no new dockets are to be given to the PKTT? Effectively, you are relenting to an unlawful instruction. And you have told us at the beginning, you will never do that. You will disobey an unlawful instruction. Can you please explain yourself?
Thanks, Commissioner. Well, if you look back on the letter, it did say disestablish immediately. I refused to do that, hence I said to my team, don't do it. I come back, I seek audience. The audience don't come, and eventually when it comes, it's still insistence on do established. And by that time, of course, I'm not aware of that the December operation gave effect to the disestablishment of the team. But of course, I'm seeking answers. Why is this team being established? And I've got no other assistance where to go to. I've got this team, I've got this minister, and he insists on this establishment.
General, if it's unlawful, it's unlawful.
I agree, Commissioner.
I just do not get you. I do not follow you. It's unlawful, and you told us this morning that if an unlawful instruction were to issue from the minister, you would disobey it. Now here's one. It's unlawful at paragraph 161 and at paragraph 188 of your affidavit. You say the instruction was unlawful. So why obey it if you've told us that you would not obey an unlawful instruction? It's a simple question. I don't quite get your answer.
Okay. No, I agree, Commissioner. I do understand what the Commissioner is saying. That yes, I said I will not agree to it. But what I'm saying is that if you were sitting in my position where I was, and this minister is insistent, without the hindsight of knowing later, because the commissioner now is advantage in that you have got the before I know the December operation of the 6, how it impacted on the disestablishment, and also me say no, I'm not going to comply with this instruction, which I did to an extent, made sure the team is not disestablished immediately, that I was successful, and eventually without any other help, and with this minister here in front of me, insisting, I had to end up saying, well, if we do it your way, I don't accept, but let's rather do it my way. Probably as we go along, I might find motive, and kept on saying, but Minister, why are you disestablishing this team? I kept asking that question all the time. I did acknowledge, Commissioner, that yes, initially I refused not to comply with his instruction. But after having no any other way, and life goes on, this man is here in front of me, he wants the team disestablished. There is no any other help. So what do I do? The only way that I did was, no, if you do that, you do it my way, not your way. Because
maybe then, I hope I won't sound as being facetious. Maybe then you should have qualified your answer of this morning and say, I would not obey an unlawful instruction unless the minister breathes down my neck.
Unless?
The minister breathes down my neck.
Okay. I hear, Commissioner. The positions that we find ourselves as government officials, well, I'm sure the commissioners are prerogative where they are sitting. We go through things.
As a follow-up to your discussion with the chair, what is available to you, whether from your employment terms, whether the laws that govern your position and policies, what is available to you as a mechanism should you disagree with the minister, for example, on the decisions such as this? Is there anything available structurally that allows you to escalate the matter or to pursue a particular cause to get resolution other than trying to meet with the minister? Is there structurally anything that you can do about it?
Yeah, well, the only avenue I know is the president. Other than that, well, in this case, General Konazi did report to the Portfolio Committee on Police. There was no assistance. So, I don't know. Basically, I can't take my own minister to court.
Yes.
So there is no any other avenue.
You went to the president. You did speak to the president about it.
Yes, I did speak to.
Thank you.
And I can't go to court, taking the same minister to court. There was no such a room.
Right. So you say you couldn't take the minister to court. We know you told us earlier you went to the president, and earlier on in your evidence you say that the best that you thought you could do at that time was to insist on a phased out approach, and you indicated that you were hoping that in that intervening period you could perhaps get to answer the question, why was the minister disestablishing the task team? I think it's as part of your engagement and interaction with the commissioners.
That's correct, Commissioner.
But was it an option for you to say, I'm not going to do it at all? You remember what the chair asked? The chair said, he asked you earlier on whether would you obey an unlawful instruction by a minister, and you said no. And in light of the engagement, he says perhaps you should have qualified it and said, unless the minister was breathing down my neck, then in that case I would implement an unlawful instruction. I think that's the import of what the chair was putting to you, that it seems in 116, when you implement this instruction by way of a winding down, it seems to be inconsistent with the earlier answer when you said, but if an instruction is unlawful from a minister without more, in other words, without qualifying it, you said you wouldn't implement it. Do you understand where the commissioners are coming from?
Yeah, no, I understand where they are coming from, yes.
And sorry, Mr. Mtao, can I just to be clear, so that I'm clear what the general is saying. General, how I understand you, you're saying you did not give effect to the instruction of immediate disbandment. So you didn't take any action. All you did was you started preparing a report which would recommend how it should be done. So at no point, as you sit there, at no point did you take steps to disband the team. Am I understanding you correctly?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So what I did was to propose that if we disband, this is the way, and can minister sign that off? The report of the 20th of January, which was submitted 22nd of January. So that wasn't signed off, and we were left, of course, then in a limbo.
So,
and then,
yeah. So the high watermark.
as we are sitting here today, forget about the report. As we are sitting here today, have you disbanded the task team in accordance with the minister's instructions?
No, I've not. I haven't sent out a letter to disband the task team. But however, I'm aware that proposals that have been made here, some people end up starting implementing them, but the task team was never disbanded. that I haven't signed. I kept renewing the authorities for it to continue working.
But you yourself had actually relented. That was my point. You yourself had actually relented and accepted that the PKTT should be disbanded. And I say so for what you stated in the two paragraphs I referred to. I think it was 131 and 131 point something. There you basically accept that the PKTT must go. You say it must be wound down, but it must be wound down in a phased manner. So you may not have gotten to the stage of actually killing it, but you had accepted that it must be killed, but in a phased manner. That's where I am. And you go so far as to say that no new documents must be given to it. So you've basically accepted the instruction, but it's merely just a question of how this should be implemented. You can only implement a decision if you've accepted it. So that's where I am.
Yeah, correct, Commissioner. There, yes, in terms of those proposals, that's what I end up proposing to the minister that, yes, maybe this is the way to go, which was still not accepted.